I promised that we were going to look at all of the new Rage 2 gameplay that was released around PAX East, that was actually captured at PAX East. But interestingly enough, IGN, they released their new gameplay. I have no idea where this is from. This is probably B-roll from id, because the person who is playing this B-roll is absolutely incredible. I'm going to make this a really short video. I did want to show you two things that really stuck out for me when it came to Rage 2, some things that I learned about this gameplay after seeing both the PAX East and the IGN gameplay. But first, I want to start off with the good, and that is the PAX East gameplay. By the way, you'll hear none of this because the developers are talking, and I don't want them talking over me, and I don't want them talking over, or I don't want to talk over them, and I don't want you to be confused as a viewer between who's talking, because there's like 4 or 5 people. You're just not going to hear audio. That's perfectly fine. Boom, here's some music. Now, let's get into the gameplay. So, one of the first things that I noticed about Rage 2 was all of the new abilities that they added in. They added in the dash, they added in the jump, they added a double jump, they added in the seismic slam, they added in new weapons like the gravity pistol that you see here. They added in a gun, I think it's a pistol, or technically it's like a revolver or something like that, that can actually ignite enemies. There's a dash. I'm not sure if there's a double dash, but the game feels like a really modern first-person shooter, and that's really enforced here, where I think I'm a little bit past when he does do the slide. I'm not gonna go back because there's some pretty, like the guy who's playing this game right now, I don't know who he is. Like, there's the slide that I wanted, but I don't know who this guy is, but he is absolutely incredible at this game, and he's demonstrating a lot of the mechanics that are within the game that you can do to really take out a lot of the bandits that are in the game. I think there's one called the Immortal Shroud, which they actually can cloak as an enemy, and this boss fight that he's going to get into is absolutely incredible. But first he's going to use the pistol that actually sets people on fire. But one of my favorite things about the combat is definitely the versatility of the combat. They added in a whole bunch of new mechanics, a whole bunch of new features. I counted the actual weapons that he has in the weapon wheel, and there's 2 weapons that are locked currently, but he has 10 weapons in the weapon wheel. Like, he has 8 that are actually usable. He has the AR, we saw the grav gun, he's gonna pull out a rocket launcher, he has a shotgun too, and he's just using a bunch of these abilities. Sorry for the lag. He's using a bunch of these abilities, and he's just making this boss fight seem like child's play. Like, I don't think he's gotten hit yet. He's gonna take a lot of damage, but he's really not going to get hit, and he's just swapping weapons and using a bunch of different weapons. The game looks really good when it comes to the first-person shooting perspective. This is something that I expected. It did a great job with this aspect of the game, and I cannot reinforce to you how great the first-person shooter dynamic looks. It looks like Apex Legends, Call of Duty. It looks like a modern FPS with an id style take on it. All right, we've seen enough of this. Let's get into something that I don't necessarily like as much as I thought I was going to like. Let me mute this. So, we're still on the positives. We're still going to talk about some things that I really liked about the game. But I really like the car combat in the game, specifically when it comes to cars like this, like the sports cars. This is the Phoenix. I really like cars like this because it seems like a more traditional, if IGN will get all of their stuff off the screen, it seems like a more, and ads, fantastic. It seems like a more traditional shooter or car combat game when you're in the Phoenix. And here's the mortar that I talked about in my video game analysis video for Rage 2. All of the things that I saw in the demo, all of the things that I saw at the E3 gameplay, all of the things that I saw at QuakeCon, they're all in there in the Phoenix, and it just looks phenomenal. And I mean, some of the VFX, if we go back, with the mortar specifically, like the explosion, I've very rarely seen explosions like this in a game. And I don't know if you can tell because the quality of the video, it's definitely not the best, but if you can see these 2 like exhaust spokes on the back of the Phoenix, they like the flames are purple and they're nice and they're glowing, and it offsets all of this shrubbery, all of this foliage that's green. It looks powerful. It looks dynamic. It suits the game. I mean, just look at that shine. It's such a pretty game. But it also has some really cool depth to it, especially when it comes to the car combat. Like here, he's lightened. Like here, he just did a power slide with the vehicle like you would do in Mad Max. The team that developed Mad Max, Avalanche Studios, they're also the guys that are helping out id Software with Rage 2. So it looks a lot and it plays a lot like Mad Max. And here's some mortar strikes. Actually, those aren't the best. Here are some mortar strikes that, I mean, they look like real VFX. They look like real life explosions, if not properly contained. But I mean, I'm really excited about the car combat, but it's ironically the car combat that's kind of the negative of Rage 2 as far as I can see. Let me try and find it. Here we go. So I want you to kind of keep in mind this really fast, really up close, and really dynamic combat when you have the Phoenix and you're taking on this whole group of not a group, but just a convoy of enemy vehicles. And I mean, you're just lighting them up like it's Christmas. You're destroying the vehicles. You're cutting through this convoy like it's butter. It's really easy for you to traverse the landscape and also fight the enemies, even when you don't really have a lot of space to move. Like if we go back a couple, like you're only really confined to like this point. I wish I had some type of highlighter. But you're really, the Phoenix, the player is only really operating in between these two. Like he's on the road. He's not in like a wasteland where it's flat, cleared, grand land that he can just go off the side of the road and fight that way. He's not moving a lot and he's still being really effective with the movements. I really like that. But one thing that I don't like is the tanks. Just simply put, it's the tanks. Where is this? I cannot believe that I forgot about it. But here's the tank gameplay. And the tanks, yeah, I get it. They're tanks. But this is too slow. This is too clunky. This is too a little bit awkward. He's not moving with the same type of, and they cut the video. God damn it, they cut the video. But he's not moving as fast as what I would want when it comes to this specific game's combat. Because imagine taking on this exact same convoy. And I'm sorry I don't have the gameplay here. I wanted to make this as quick as possible. But imagine trying to go this speed with, oh my god. Oh wait, I think it's like right over here. With this vehicle, where it's hard for you to take turns, it's hard for you, and I get it, the road is also narrow, so it's hard for him, but it's hard for him to traverse this landscape. But I think in the Phoenix, you would be able to really traverse this landscape pretty easily. But unfortunately, it looks like the tank is slow. I haven't seen a lot of the weapons. We're gonna get some weapons here, but it's not going to be a whole lot of using the tanks. And of course, he's gonna light these guys up because he's in a tank. Like he's gonna murder them with ease. But that's kind of it. I still really like the game. I think it's gonna be one of the best games of the year. I like the car combat. I like this. I love this. I'm not that big a fan of this. Not that big a fan of it. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this kind of impromptu look at a lot of the Rage gameplay that I saw over the past couple of days. Listen, the more I've looked at this game, the more I really like this game. I'm starting to like this game a whole lot more than I liked it a couple months ago, just based off of all the footage. I mean, I watched this entire hour-long. I've seen this same gameplay like multiple times. I'm so excited for Rage 2. I hope you are as well. And if you're not, hey, maybe you saw some stuff that made you like it even more, or at least like it a little bit. I think it's gonna be one of the best games of 2019, but I'll be coming out with a video hopefully soon about Persona 5. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.